What up, is Marcus with Dynasty Fun Dads. We have the post round 1, round 2, round 3 NFL draft Dynasty rookies reaction. I'm going to be going through the rookies here. We're going to be going through at least the first round. We might be dipping into the second round here as well. We have some big decisions to make after day 2 of the rookie draft here. So let's start off right off the bat. 101, Breece Hall. When I was worried last year about the Michael Carter and Trey Sermon truthers, this is the exact reason. When you have 4th round draft capital, they just don't believe in you as much. This is the same reason why I do love Elijah Mitchell. He was one of my darlings last year, but he was not undrafted. He was a late round draft pick. And so you have to be concerned that they are going to kind of whisk him away to the side here in 2 years or maybe even next year. It's like, you just never know with these running backs that have late round draft capital or even no draft capital, which James Robinson just showed that even with Travis Etienne being there. So Breece Hall, the New York Jets, round 2, pick 36. He is going to be my first running back and first player taken off the board. We're going to be talking about Superflex and 1 QB issues, but then we're just going to be, this is both leagues. Doesn't matter. He's my 101, and we'll talk about when it would split in Superflex. I mean, this is the worst QB class, like I said, potentially in the last 10 years. Personally, and the NFL draft just kind of proved everybody's thoughts about these QBs. 102, Kenneth Walker, Seattle. A little bit of a surprise destination because of Seattle. If you're Rashad Penny or Carson Truther, this hurts, especially Rashad Penny, who I feel like I've always liked Rashad Penny. He was first round draft capital out of Seattle. He just had that one injury on that little pass route, blew his knee up, and has never been the same, but showed that he could be fantasy relevant towards the end of the year. So what happens there? Rashad Penny maybe goes into a more of a pass catching back. He can pass catch, but maybe Kenneth Walker just kind of takes most of it, and then you're going to have maybe Travis Homer, if he's still there. I don't even know if he's still there, but or you have DJ Dallas. If you're a fan of any of these Seattle running backs, this is just a sad day for you. Then we go into the wide receivers here, and I'm going to make this a little bit a shorter video, so you guys can ask your questions and stuff like that. But 103, Treylon Burks, Tennessee, 118. Why do I have him there? I feel like he's the A.J. Brown version in this 2022 draft, and he's going on to a perfect situation. And not only that, they get Malik Willis too. So if Ryan Tannehill does move on, Malik Willis is the future there, which is a shocking pick that he lasted that late into the 3rd round, Malik Willis. So Treylon Burks would be my pick 3. If I had pick 4, and these are all close, but Garrett Wilson, the Jets are doing things there. Man, they have Michael Carter at running back. They have Breece Hall. They have Elijah Moore. And now they have Garrett Wilson. They are putting the weapons around Zach Wilson to succeed. Buy low on Zach Wilson right now. This is this is like a public warning. If you haven't bought Zach Wilson yet, buy Zach Wilson. In fact, if Zach Wilson was in this draft, I think I would have him probably at 102. 101 or 102. It would be hard. He might be ahead of Breece Hall, honestly. He honestly might be ahead of Breece Hall, but he would be a top 2 pick in this draft. That's how bad the quarterbacks are. We haven't even talked about it yet. Number 105, Drake London, Atlanta. He does stay ahead of some of these other wide receivers that are right on his heels. But Drake London goes to Atlanta. Marcus Mariota is going to be the biggest issue for Drake London. I think it might be a little bit of a slower start for Drake London. So if you're a contending team and you're this early, you might just take a Christian Watson or a Sky Moore instead. I could see that. We're going to be talking about those wide receivers soon. But gosh, Drake London has that talent. There is concerns. That he gets stuck in Atlanta with Marcus Mariota, and he was amazing at USC. But there is definitely a possibility that he just doesn't he becomes stuck into the Eagles mess. And I hate to say J.J. Arcega-Whiteside because I feel like Drake London's a much better receiver than J.J. Arcega-Whiteside ever was. But you saw J.J. Arcega-Whiteside was put in a horrible situation as well. Maybe even more of I'm trying to think of who else he reminds me of. There's wide receivers that definitely can be put in situations, and I feel like this is a situation that I am most worried about, is Drake London going to Atlanta here. Number 106, this is where it gets tough. Do you want to go with Jameson Williams? Do you want to go with Christian Watson, Chris Olave, Sky Moore? Like, these are all players that are going to be right around each other, and I'm going to take Jameson Williams, Detroit, 112. I think he has that tier gap ahead of Christian Watson, and so that's why I have him. They're super close, but I feel because of that landing spot that Christian Watson gets with being with Aaron Rodgers, and Christian Watson will be with Aaron Rodgers for at least the next couple of years, at least it seems like, and there is no one else that they drafted yet. So I'm going to take Jameson Williams over Christian Watson, but that's the next two players. So it's going to be Jameson Williams at 106. It's going to be Christian Watson at 107. He just moves up because of this landing spot draft capital as well. They moved up 2.34. You might as well just say that's 132 because they were trying to get to the Vikings as well for 132. So he was really early in the second round. Think of Michael Pittman Jr. level. Some of these other teams that have moved up into that kind of early second to get the wide receiver. It's usually a really, really good thing. And so Christian Watson, super athletic out of NDSU. 4'3", I think 4'3", 40 or something like that. He's a freak. He's awesome. Chris Olave moves down a little bit. Not because I don't dislike him, but New Orleans is a great spot for Chris Olave. He's not in the Jameson Williams tier. And for him, I think Christian Watson goes over him because of the Green Bay. Absolutely perfect landing spot for Christian Watson. I wanted Green Bay to either get Treylon Burks or Christian Watson. Well, I actually didn't want them to get those two players because I felt like that would be two players that I would be personally worried about. I thought Sky Moore would have been a really good fit for Green Bay as well. And Sky Moore, I do have at 109. You have Chris Olave at 108, Sky Moore at 109. I could see myself in 2 months switching this around and having Sky Moore at 108. But right now, he's Kansas City, mid-second round. This is where it depends when your draft is. Is it after training camp and you get to see some of these players together? But they go and get Sky Moore, who I actually really, really do like. And we'll see how high he moves up. He might move up even higher here. Even looking at it, I kind of want to move Sky Moore ahead of Chris Olave. It's just, that's where I kind of have that thoughts. 110, George Pickens. He has the biggest down bump here, that downfall. Chase Claypool, Deontay Johnson, Pat Freiermuth, and you have Kenny Pickett / Mitchell Trubisky as your next quarterback for 4 or 5 years. A lot of mouths to feed. I think George Pickens is going to be utilized as more of a deep threat into that offense. He's going to be used in the James Washington role a lot, and I don't like that. He's completely a huge wide receiver compared to James Washington, but I do not like this spot for George Pickens, but I drafted him up here because of talent, because of Pittsburgh's reputation with wide receivers here. So they get him at 110. 111, a running back, James Cook, who I told you was going to be probably the third running back taken off the board. He gets drafted by Buffalo. So not only is it this is going to be the hardest pick to gauge right here. I am telling you. These next two picks. Where do you put James Cook? Where do you put Jahan Dotson? Jahan Dotson has talent, goes to Washington with Carson Wentz. Terry McLaurin's the alpha. That's a situation that I don't like. He moves down a couple spots. How far do you move him down before you start going, okay, I'm moving him down too far? James Cook is the other way. He was drafted as the 63rd overall pick. Where do you put him? Where do you put him? That's a really good draft capital, but you still have Singletary and you have Zach Moss there. Where does James Cook lie? James Cook, honestly, he could be the absolute steal of this draft. He could be the 103 of this draft. And I say that because he's not Dalvin Cook. He's definitely not Dalvin Cook. But if Buffalo actually utilizes him like a second-round draft capital, they give him 60% of the work, which I think would be kind of crazy since Zamir White was the power back there at Georgia. He could easily be a steal. He could be the one. He could be like, because people say, oh, well, he didn't have production as much. Kamara, college, same type of thing. Kamara was not used a lot in college at Tennessee, and then all of a sudden, boom, he goes to New Orleans and he's utilized a ton. James Cook could be the absolute steal of this draft. He could be the absolute bust, going to stupid Buffalo, and then all of a sudden you see him and Devin Singletary's the starting running back, and then all of a sudden here comes James Cook basically playing the J.D. McKissick would-be role. So we're going to go through 112 is Jahan Dotson. So, by the way, Superflex, Pickett and Malik Willis are probably into that middle first tier, 107, 108. It's going to be hard to have them ahead of Chris Olave and Sky Moore. You might even move them down to like 110. Like Malik Willis, the biggest disappointment. Again, third-round draft capital. That does not seem to correlate with NFL success very often. You might say, oh, well, there's Dak Prescott and there's Russell Wilson. Yeah, there's also about 8 million other quarterbacks. There's the Kellen Monds of the world that his coach comes out and says, basically, no, I am not starting him. I see him at practice, and he sucks. So, for every good story, there's 10 bad stories. And Desmond Ridder, end of first, early second for Superflex here for me, goes to Atlanta. But does he overtake Marcus Mariota? Maybe, maybe not. And are these going to be starting quarterbacks? Will they ever be a consistent, or are they going to be Tyrod Taylor-esque? Or are they going to be fill-ins at times where you just, like, it's frustrating because draft capital means everything to quarterbacks, and there just wasn't there. They have one in the top 75 picks. That is crazy. And so we have there's big wide receivers that we have to talk about with David Bell, Cleveland, John Mechie, Houston, Alec Pierce, Colts. That's my order. But then you have other wide receivers like Wan'Dale Robinson. Then you have other receivers like Calvin Austin, Jalen Tolbert. Or sorry, not Calvin Austin, Jalen Tolbert. And then you have other running backs like Rachaad White that get drafted, and all of a sudden now you look at him going to Tampa Bay, and you're like, oh, maybe he plays the pass catching role. Giovanni Bernard plus, because he's a bigger running back than Giovanni Bernard, but maybe he plays that pass catching down back for Tom Brady. And Tom Brady is never going to retire, so maybe he plays for the next 3 years and actually has some fantasy relevance there. And then there's some players I don't even know their names of, not quite yet, but they drafted a San Francisco running back, and I was like, I watched tape, and there's just players that you don't have enough time watching tape, and I was like, who's that? Who is that? So David Bell would be my 201, Cleveland, third round. He's got the talent, and finally he's got the draft capital into that third round, and he's got a good landing spot. John Mechie, Houston, Alec Pierce, Colts. Then you're probably getting to the Wan'Dale Robinsons, the Rachaad Whites here. Brian Robinson did get his draft capital, but we'll see how much I like him. I'm gonna go through more of this. This is just initial reaction. I need more time to process this and develop this, to figure out exactly what my rankings are gonna be. But this is just a very rough draft right now of like, this is what I think it's gonna be, but it might change, it might fluctuate just a little bit here and there, but this is the rough draft, all right? This is Marcus Dynasty with Dads. Peace out. Take care.